Hey, what's up you guys? So this is going to be an updated Goddess of War character breakdown or Wonder Woman breakdown. A lot of stuff hasn't really changed from the very first time I made a character breakdown, in a sense of the meta of it and the philosophy of it. That stuff hasn't really changed, but you know, the properties of the moves that she has, they have changed. The meta of the game itself has changed, not so much Wonder Woman. And you know, it's like over time, just the experience gained, you get better, you know, feedback and get better experience, better knowledge as to how to approach things and how to break things down. So this is more so like a revamped version because I'm pretty sure she's not going to get touched past this point. So you know, like anything that's made now should be good to go, you know, like indefinitely until the, you know, like the game dies, like officially or whatever. So for this, I'm just gonna break down her moves. And the way that I want to do it is like I'm going to start off with the first input, like let's say standing 1, right? And then I'll go into the string itself and then like the uses of it, like on hit, on block, and all that stuff. Just because she has, as you can see, a pretty short move list. So a lot of things are multi-purpose. So that's why it's like I don't really want to go down the list of, you know, like breaking down each normal first and then go into the strings, just because it's going to be jumping back and forth, whereas I can just cover everything. Because as you can see, she doesn't have like 3 strings off of her standing 1. It's only like, it's the same exact thing as the one from above, you know, like 1 1 3. She has 1 1, and that's it. That's the only thing that starts from 1 1 or from 1 itself. So that's just how I'm going to approach it. So yeah. So standing 1, it's her jab, it's a high, doesn't have that much range, and it's 8 frames, so it's a little bit on the slow side for a jab. And especially considering the range that it has, you would expect it to be a little quicker, but you know, it is what it is. So the main reason why you want to use this is not really for combo punishes. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but just to clear this part really quick. Whenever it comes to punishing moves that aren't that negative, always rely on down 1 2, just because you're always going to get the punish for it. You know, it's like, even if a move is like, let's say it's -9, so this can make contact, it's not going to make a difference in the sense of damage than down 1 2 is going to. Down 1 2, easier to input, and easier to input in the sense that it's a 6 frame starter. So you don't have to be that frame perfect as something as like -8, -9, you know, because it is already a few frames quicker than that window. So that's why you want to do that, and also they do roughly the same exact damage. So let me show you the difference. Like look, like let's say I'm just gonna do like a standard simple basic combo. That was down 1 2, right? You see 4 4 4 11. This is 4 4 4 points. Like the difference is literally non-existent. So you don't want to use this as like a combo starter, like as a punish, just because there's literally no point in doing so for that reason. So now to explain the reasons why you want to use this move, when you want to use this move, and how to use it and all that stuff. So the main reason why you even use this move to begin with is for the full string itself, the 1 1 3. As you can see, the range that it has and the knockdown that it gives. So to start it off really quickly, why you want to use it on hit is you get free trade activation. It's safe against everybody, whether they tech roll it or not. It's always safe. So like let's say, you know, like it's a clutch moment in the match, you need a buff or something, you know, you just need something to help you out really quick. And you're like, you got them cornered, you will sacrifice a little bit of damage because, as you can see, like you normally end combos, or at least I end combos in lasso grab. I forgot how much damage I did. That did 128. If you do 1 1 3, it does 127. The damage difference actually shows a lot more like in a full-blown combo. Let me see. Just because of that standing 3 before. So you see 4 4 4 6 7, right? If you do that, it does 404. So you're missing about 4%, roughly. So that, you know, that's that little sacrifice that you're going to use. So kind of going back to that a little bit, you end it with that. One of the benefits is that you get a trait out safely. Another benefit is that you get to stay right on top of them, as opposed to ending a lasso grab. You lose all advantage when you're trying to dash, you know. So it gets good in the corner just because you don't really want to keep on dashing up to them in the corner, so it's not going to matter. But like, let's say you're mid-screen, depending on the matchup, you kind of want to always stay near them. You don't want to do lasso grab and then try to, you know, work your way in all over again. So to show that, like in real time, you do this BMB, you still have to somewhat chase them down, but then they still have all this time and all this space to wiggle themselves out of the corner. They can meter burn roll away. If there's somebody like Ivy, let's say, she can not wake up with it, but she can armor like a forward 3 and then cover all this range. She's plus, like let's say you block it, she's plus on top of you now, and she can just keep on doing her pressure, or she can just keep on forcing you back to mid-screen while you're trying to push it to the corner, you know. But now let's say you do this and you, oh my god, I messed that up. Let's say you end in 113. You're able to whip the bash, and if you have the meter, I didn't. I kind of forgot that I didn't have the meter. You can meter burn a forward 3 or back 3 to eat up and to stuff any wake-ups that you're doing, and keep them. As you can see, like look at all this distance that I covered, as opposed to, you know, like doing it in the lasso. So as you can see, they're practically right at the corner. And whiffing the bash is also safe. Same with the trait activation. You can activate trait and you're safe. You can whiff a bash and you're actually a little plus. You're plus like 1, plus 2. So that's how you want to use this, like in a lot of situations. That's why you would use it on hit. And then because you are a little bit plus, depending on the wake-up game that the opponent has, like the opposing character, you can use her down 3, like at that range, because she low profiles certain wake-ups and certain specials. It catches backdashing, it catches jumps. Most armored forward 3s and back 3s, this will low profile at the same time too. So that's really the setup for it when you use this on hit. It's just doing all that, like that whole sequence. If it's not a wake up that you can easily stuff, then you're still plus off of doing this. So you can still just walk back, you can block, you know, you can do all those things. Or you can even just dash forward and be more plus, as you can see, and have enough time to dash and jump over. For whatever setup it is that you want to do that for, you know, it's entirely up to you, but you know, it's just showing you the options that you have with it on hit. So now the main reason why you want to use it on block. Let me actually put them in the corner, just because that we can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. Main reason why you want to use this on block is because you're plus afterwards and you get that little bit of pushback. This is corner specific. When you're in a corner, you're plus and you can frame trap them with your down 1, which is great. It's good, you know, like you can make use of it. But keep in mind, it does not work mid-screen. It's character specific, so I kind of just make it like a rule of thumb that if I am going to try to utilize the plus frames after 113, I use the bash. Just because it's 8 frames, so it's still like a really tight window for them to do anything. And if they try to armor it, like armor right back, this is going to break their armor doing the bash. And not for nothing, but you can always just walk back and shimmy them a little bit, wait for them to press buttons, like bait them to disrespect the plus frames and then punish them for it, because you're still plus anyway, so you're not going to get punished either way if it's blocked. And I'll mention the if part afterwards. So that's really why you want to do that. It's just for that reason. But again, keep in mind, the starting hit is a high. So if you're doing a jump attack and you're trying to go into this, if the opponent crouches immediately, they can interrupt it because it is a high. So it's just try to condition them first, so that they're not always mashing. Like if you're gonna jump in, always do like down 1-2 or something, you know, or do this. Like condition them to basically respect it, so that whenever you do jump in at them and use this string, you're not gonna get interrupted for it. So now like all the miscellaneous stuff, like all the little I guess the fine print, like for the string, is there is a gap in between the last two hits. So the gap, I believe, is 7 or 6 frames. I think it's 7 frames if you're doing a reversal. It has to be a 7-frame special. And if you're going to use a normal to interrupt the gap, it has to be 6 frames. Because as you can see, reversal bash is 8 frames, and yet she's getting hit out. But you can't interrupt this. So the main use for this, or the main thing that you can like exploit with this, is if the opposing character doesn't have a 6-frame move, you're more or less free to throw this out at them. Because even if they backdash it, they're not going to whiff punish you for it. Because you're recovering from this on whiff, because you know the last hit would whiff if they backdash it, and they're recovering from their backdash at the same exact time. So it's like you don't get the advantage necessarily, but you're not going to get punished for it either. So it's just, that's one of the things that you have to remember when it comes to the matchups. You know, make sure if they have a 6-frame move, be careful with it, because they can interrupt you and they can punish you for it. And also watching their meter, because it doesn't matter whether they have a 6-frame move or not. Let me do this over. And I'm holding down, as you can see, so I'm blocking immediately. It doesn't matter whether they have a 6-frame move or not. If they have meter, they can interrupt this with meter burn back 3. So it's just, you know, being aware of all these things. Of course, it takes like a specific timing to interrupt it, but just be aware of it, you know. I'll put it back to block always. So just keeping in mind all those things. Where's auto? And then one of the benefits too is like using it in the corner. You can use it as like a really good meeting. Like if they delay their wake up, this will still catch them. And if they're trying to like delay their wake up and then try to jump out, it'll catch people jumping out. I just throw her back in. Like it has a really good aerial hitbox. Oh, that part wasn't, but as you can see. So you can kind of loop this a little bit, but obviously you don't want to make too much of a habit of it, just because they can't just armor right through it. Meter burn, forward 3, back 3, you know, and stuff like that. Also, I don't think that this last hit can be parried. I was testing this before. Wait, what's going on? Okay, it's not gonna matter. Yeah, this can't be parried. So that is, I guess, a little perk. It doesn't really matter if they have a parry or not. You can't parry this. I don't know why, but you can't parry this. Obviously you can armor it, but it can't be parried. So if they do have like a really fast parry, it's not gonna matter. So now a little bit of the mind games for it. What you can do, like let's say well, no, I don't think that any reversal is actually going to beat it out. But just to paint this scenario really quick. Oh, I just put always, reversal, bash, whatever. Alright, so like, let's say they have a habit of being able to interrupt the gap. Like they are frame perfect, they know the matchup, etc, etc. Just doing 1-1 on its own, it's -5. You are safe. So you can always just stagger this, bait the counter poke, or if you're thinking like a couple of layers ahead, if they have a habit of constantly, you know, poking right through and always like mashing it, you can cancel into a forward 3 or back 3, because the game itself, it's going to register them, it still has that window open right after the 1-1. After the first 2 hits, that window opens up. So if they want to press buttons, they can. So you can kind of patch it up by canceling into, you know, like a meter burn forward 3 or back 3, because once that window's open and they have a habit of constantly pressing buttons, the armor is going to eat it up completely, and you basically punish them for it. So the way that I do it all the time is I always try to hoard as much meter as I can in general. But like with Wonder Woman specifically, anytime they have a habit of doing that, even if they block this, like let's say they don't do a reversal, where's off, even if they just block it, you're plus. Afterwards, you can keep on initiating pressure. And if you make a habit of doing this all the time, you create that whole mix in general, where it's like if you have 2 bars and you're throwing out this string, they have to think twice if they're going to try to interrupt it, because you know they can eat a full-blown combo that does even more damage than just them holding the plus frames. All they have to do is just hold that little bit of chip, you know. So it's just like, you know, like it's a whole bunch of like mind games stacked on top of mind games, like when it comes to gaps and this string specifically. I guess to mention the plus frames really quick, you're only +1 or +2, so you know, like if you have a habit also of like frame trapping them like in the corner, you can use this little advantage to try to grab them. You have to walk forward a little bit, so you do lose those plus frames, but it is a good way to condition them. Like if you're constantly doing this all the time, or you're just meter burning your bash all the time and you're respecting it, that's what lets you open them up with that. And again, if they have a habit also of just doing a reversal or trying to counter poke, you can always just stagger it and just let them do whatever, and then take your turn right back as soon as they're done committing to whatever it is that they did. Because every single counter poke, like you're negative afterwards. So if they're constantly just mashing like a counter poke right back, like imagine that the bash is a counter poke. It's like she's negative after, you get your turn right back. And sometimes if the counter poke, whatever it is that they're committing to, is unsafe, then you get a full-blown punish for it. So that's really that. That's really just like the gist of this whole string. Well, not really the gist, I went in depth a lot. But those are all the utilities, you know, for the string itself. And again, you can always just whiff it. You don't even have to be close to them. You don't have to necessarily okie them. It's just knowing the range of it. And just be aware as to the whiff recovery if it misses. Because I'm holding up. As you can see, look at how long it takes. So just be aware of that. Oh, and also a little thing, what I forgot to mention, like on hit, like if you want to use it in the corner, is a lot of the times, or even like mid-screen, like let's say you have like a really funny, like a funny kind of combo, right? Like you got like a really weird convert. Sometimes standing 3 is not always going to connect. So I just paint a scenario really quick. Sometimes standing 3 won't always connect depending on what it is. So instead of risking dropping the combo, you can always just do down 1, 2, right? But even that's tricky to connect. Like if it's a weird juggle, you can always just do down 1, 2 and then go into lasso, right? But like if you're trying to push them to the corner and it's like a really weird juggle, you can always just substitute it with this, because it kind of like, it picks up the gravity a little bit by doing this string as an ender. So it's just like a way to patch up like a really weird combo or really weird convert. Like that's another little benefit for it. And then of course, you know, if you get to dash in either way. And in the corner you get like some ambiguous setups with this too. As you can see. So you know, like it has like its uses like on hit, like, especially in the corner. It has a lot more use in the corner. So that's that whole string on its own. So now going into back 1. Back 1, it honestly, it has literally no use whatsoever in terms of block. Like there's no reason to use this string unless it's on hit, basically. This is your optimal combo starter. So you can see, like let's just do down 1, 2, do all that, blah blah blah. It does 4, 44, 11. If you do back 1, 1 and you do all this, as you can see, it picks it up a few % more. So this is your optimal starter. And also it sucks them in a little bit, which sounds kind of weird, but like look, like let's say I do it at max range, this always connects. You see? It always connects. But sometimes if you have this, it doesn't. See, like it pushes them away. Even that too. like all her other strings, they always push them. So if you're trying to get that interactable combo, if you're not hitting it with this, you're not guaranteed that the interactable, like it's gonna connect. You know, like that kick, it's not guaranteed that it's gonna connect if you're not using back 1-1. So that's one of the biggest benefits off of this string, is like let's say you manage to do all this. Obviously after the shield toss anything connects, but it's just, if you're trying to punish somebody, like they did something unsafe, and there's an interactable right there, you doing this doesn't guarantee it. See, look, even both hits, they came out, but it doesn't guarantee that it's gonna connect. So if this can connect, if her back 1 can connect, the reason why I say can is because it is a little slower, it's 11 frames. If it can connect, always use this because it's guaranteed that you're gonna get the interactable. And that's really it. And again, on hit, it's your optimal starter. Just because on block, it literally has no use. It doesn't do anything special in terms of range. It's like this, like 2-2 does the same exact thing, and 2-2, I'll go into that, but it has, you know, like plus frames, it has a whole meta behind 2-2, so, and it's faster, a frame faster, and it shreds armor, because, you know, it's like it's 2 quick hits. This can shred armor, but it's a little bit slower. So that's really why, like, there's really no reason to use this move on block for anything, really. It's really just for use on hit. And it's really good for like corner combos too, just because, you know, it does, like what I was showing you, it has, you know, like the biggest damage in terms of the 2 hits. So it's like, let's say you do this. See, I used that twice, it did 374. Let's say I was just to do 1-1. And see, it doesn't even connect. Let's do 374 versus 339. And you have to be a little frame perfect with this, but it also has like this really weird thing where it's like, it doesn't really matter how low they are to the ground. So long as this second hit connects, the lasso will always connect. This isn't always the case though, like look. It's like down 1, it connected, right? But you see like that, it missed because the juggle was too low. Even though the down 1-2 both hits connected, the lasso can still whiff. The really cool thing, but weird thing, is that if you use this, if this manages to connect before that lasso, so long as that second hit makes contact, it's always going to connect. So it's just one of those little things to keep in mind. It's like, unless you like really main her and like really like delve a lot of time into this character, you're not going to notice this, but this is one of those little things, you know, like one of the little benefits and perks of it on hit. I think my mic just fell. Oh no, it didn't. But that's really that. Because it's like, it doesn't have any advantage or anything. Like back 1 on its own, it's -5, as you can see. Back 1-1 is -5. Back 1-1-2 is still negative. You can't even cancel out of this, and there's so much recovery. This move is completely useless. Like, you should never throw this. Like, there's no purpose for this at all. And there's a gap between the last 2 hits on block. So it's completely useless. There's no point in doing this. There's no point in ever using this on block. Its only use is on hit. And it's a little weird to do, but it is viable. You can use this as like an anti-air of sorts, because it does give a good chunk of damage. It's like, let's say, I'm trying to think, okay, like let's say I interrupt them with that, I do all of this, right, I get this combo that did 429. If you land this hit first, it just adds like a big burst. Like look, it's already exceeding it, like before the combo even ended. So it's like, it's really good burst damage if you're doing stuff like that. But again, it's like, it's weird. Like, it's not really meant to anti-air with, but you can use it as an anti-air. And that's really that. That's everything for that string, back 1-1. Let me change this back to center, because I'm not sure what I'm going to cover right now, which is the next one. Next one, oh, down 1-2. So like what I was saying at the start, down 1 on its own is a 6-frame mid. So it's your go-to Punisher. And it does a decent amount of damage compared to everything else too. So like this is your optimal like mid-screen BMP that did 403.85. Oh, I messed that up. If I did it with this, with the, you know, the higher damage. Wow, why am I missing this? Oh god. $427. Like you're only cutting down like a few percent, you know? Like obviously, every bit counts, but you still are gonna get your mileage from the damage just off of using this. So yeah, like on hit, go to Punisher, 6 frames, fastest normal in the game, or 6 frames itself. Anything 6 frames are the fastest moves in the game. So it's really good for like interrupting pokes, not interrupting pokes, but interrupting gaps. If they delay their armor enough, this does break armor too, or if it's too slow, the armor itself. And it's really good for like little things, like really heavy juggles. Like let's say, like with this, remember like your optimal damage is the back 1-1, but like let's say you're doing this kind of combo. If I can even get it. Wow. You can always just use this like as a little quick way to just get that finishing damage in, or you can just do down 1, 2 into the bash and still get that little bit of damage, instead of just dropping a whole thing altogether. So like you can get that little bit, because right there they were so low to the ground that if it canceled into the lasso, it wouldn't have connected. So it's just getting that little mileage off of it, and that's really it though. Those are the only benefits for it on hit. I guess the other little thing, as you can see, the hit advantage is plus 19 on hit. So like let's say you do punish somebody with this, you're guaranteed pressure afterwards. Like on hit, if you do hit them with this, you're guaranteed like a mix option. You can do this, you can mix them, you can delay a little bit. You see, like delay it a little bit, because if you do it instantly, it's not going to connect. You can do the grab. Obviously that only works in a corner because you're too far away when it's mid-screen. But you are guaranteed pressure. Like it's one of the most plus things that she has on hit. So you can make you can make use of that. So to cover this part a little bit when it comes to on block, or actually before I jump on block, it's a really good hit confirm. But I guess I had to mention the block stuff with that. Okay. So the thing with it on block, always reversal on. There is a gap in between the 2 hits. It's a 4-frame gap. So if they have like a 4-frame move, then they can, like if it's a 4-frame parry, then they can parry it. I think you can also armor in between it. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that you can. Oh no. Okay. So yeah, it's a 4-frame gap if you do a reversal. If it's not a reversal, it's only 3 frames. I don't think anybody's armor starts up in 3 frames except maybe Catwoman. So they can't armor in between this, but they can super in between this. I don't know if you guys have seen my sets before, but I do have a habit of doing that, like in a Wonder Woman mirror, or if I'm just up against a Wonder Woman in general. And it's like, trying to close out a match, I always hold on to the meter, like hold on to a super, just because if they do this, it's game, because it is a punishable gap if it's a super. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And then also it is unsafe on block. So to show you this, what am I doing? I'm holding down. I'm still holding down so that I'm always blocking. If you do it too close to them, it is punishable by 6-frame moves. I'm not being frame perfect with this. There we go, you see, it says punish. So you just want to be careful. If you create a little bit of distance where like the move is not going to make contact right away, then it makes it a little bit safer, but it's just keep in mind, keep this in mind, I mean. Just so that, like, if it's a character that has a 6-frame move, like a 6-frame poke, you don't want to throw it in their face, just because this can happen. Alright. Yeah, but that's any gap. So there's that. another thing is, most people, they know that this is just 2 hits. So when it comes to the counter poking game, you know, most people, it's like they block it and then they poke it right back as soon as it's done. Similarly with the other gap, like with the 1-1 and 1-1-3 that I was doing before, what you can do is, like if they're trying to counter poke, you can always cancel into, you know, like the wall bounces or the floor bounce, because you get the armor for it, and if you're constantly mashing a counter poke, you get to punish them for it. And if it's just blocked, you're still plus, so you still get to, you know, keep on initiating pressure. So there's that. And the reason why I was mentioning the hit confirm is that part of the pressure that you can do, like you can do this and just finish your pressure right there if you want. Or if you're trying to push them to the corner, you can do it like this, you know, move a little bit, build your meter a little bit, and just keep on doing like little cycles of this. Because they can't interrupt this, but you want to hold on to the meter just because doing this right there in your face, you get full-blown combo punish for it. Whereas if you have the bar, not your plus. So there's a bit of a mind game, there's a meta behind like doing down 1-2 and canceling out of it. Because like what I was saying before, you can just do down 1-2 and leave it as is, but then you give the opponent the opportunity to take the turn back. Which is fine, that's how things should work, but you know, that's one thing to keep in mind. If they're trying to armor right afterwards, that's why you also just want to hold block, just that you don't eat, you know, like armor just for mashing or trying to mash, because you are negative in certain matchups, you are punishable after doing this, so you know, just be aware of that. So it's like you can just do that. Again, you can cancel into the shield bash if you want to push them to the corner, or you just want to chip them out, or just do chip in general. And then you get the frame advantage from the shield bash too. So that's how you want to do that. But one of the biggest things, the reason why I mentioned the hit confirm, is that if you're not sure that it's hitting, you don't want to just commit to the shield toss. Because it doesn't matter whether you meter burn this or not, you're gonna get full combo punished for doing this, like right in their face. So you always want to be sure that if you're ever committing to the shield toss, it is on hit. You can try to throw them off by delaying this a little bit. I don't think it really changes the frame data at all. It just throws off the timing as to when they're supposed to move. But you're always going to get punished, no matter what. Like if it's a player that knows what they're doing, you're always going to get punished. So that's why you don't want to just do down 1-2 into shield toss and banking it whether it's going to hit them or not. So the hit confirm aspect of it is that if you see that they're still just blocking, after you're doing this, just cancel into the shield bash. Like if you really feel the need to cancel into something, just do the shield bash. But then if you notice that it starts hitting them, let me just turn this all off. Then you can just, you know, like hit confirm into the shield toss. Or again, you don't want to commit to it. Like what I do a lot of the times is always down 1-2 into super. You know, like you don't want to do down 1-2 into the super if they're still blocking, because you just wasted all your bar for nothing. So you just want to always make sure that, you know, like everything is making contact. As you can see, like I'm not inputting the super right away. Look, oh damn it, I messed that up. It's like you have to wait until you're 100% sure that it's actually making contact. So it's a good hit confirm for that. And also, down 1 itself has so much cancel advantage on hit that if you're trying to go for unclashable, you can do down 1 into the super and it all connects. So that's like 6 frame, unclashable, we'll see how much damage it does. 442. I don't go by these numbers, but you know, it's just, everybody seems to go by it, so it's just to make things easier. But as you can see, all that damage just off a down 1. So yeah, that's really it. A lot of the times, I have a habit of doing this. It's not good. It's not a good habit. We're stuck. This is technically safe on block. It's -8, -9 or so. Yeah, -8. For the most part, even if they block it over here, you're safe. The only thing is, as you can see, it's a high. So if they're just ducking, it's gonna miss. I'm holding up. look at all this time that it takes before I'm able to move. You can get punished for whiffing this in their face. So this is another reason. You want to be sure that you're hitting them before you're committing to these specials. I have a habit of doing these things too, or not listening to my own advice, but that's why, you know, I'm giving you guys the advice as well. If you feel the need, if you feel compulsive to cancel into something, just cancel into the bash. Because even if you hit them with this, push them all the way to the corner and you still did a decent amount of damage. So, you know, no harm, no foul. If they block it, you're plus, you did chip, and you're still pushing them to the corner. So that's really that when it comes to down 1-2 and all that stuff. So now next in the move list is her 2s.